Hey, this is Bruce Boudreau, and you're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mack, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 166 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. Happy 420, Nick.
How's it going, boys?
Going great.
Doing well. Loving life. Excited to talk some playoff hockey.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure that it was about playoff hockey and not anything else. But
no, absolutely not. We're here for business.
Gotcha. Good. All right, now I'm going to toss across the screen up to my other co-host up in Wisconsin, Mac Vogel. What's going on, my friend?
No, I'm just kidding. It's good. We're chilling. We're ready to talk playoff hockey, just like Nick said. I'm ready to go for this one. I know, Harry, you were saying you're reeling. I'm ready. I've watched at least a little bit of every single game so far this NHL postseason, and I'm ready to dive in.
This is one of my favorite episodes of the year. Is not just the preview, but the one right after where you get 1 to 2 games in and all mayhem breaks loose. I love this time of year. I missed you guys last episode.
Yeah, honestly, like before we get started, dude, hats off to you for doing your marathon. That is so impressive. Like,
appreciate it.
If I tried to run 2.6 miles right now, I would puke my brains out.
26.2.
Yeah, I know. So like a tenth of.
Oh, you said 2.6. I was like, yeah, that was hard, but you guys did a great job carrying the boats. I listened to that on the way home on the plane, and man, that got me fired up, and I missed this, so it feels good to be back, and I got a lot of fun for the Leafs fans when we get to that one. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, before we get started, I know Mac has a question of the day that's presented by our friends at Brackish Life.
I do. I have like a main question today, and then I'll ask like just a little quick bonus thing afterwards. But the first one, let's get right into it. I kind of crafted this question based on something else that was sent to me from Sarah Baker, friend of the pod, Stephen Baker's older sister. The other day, she said, this sounded like a question you would ask. And I liked that question, but I don't want to steal it directly. So instead, I thought of this. What type of what store, what popular like chain store, could be any kind of store, would make the best place for like your office to move into, like temporarily, let's say, so let's say like we've all worked a 9-to-5 office job before, right? We've all had that experience.
Yes.
You're picturing your classic office, there's cubicles, desks, whatever. If your whole office, everyone there had to move out for, let's say, like a month while they like renovated it, and they were like, I know this is crazy and it's not ideal, but we're going to be moving into blank for a month. Like, what would it be? Like, would it be like a Mattress Warehouse? Would it be like a GameStop? Would it be like a Target? Or like, what do we think?
Before we answer this, if you don't watch on YouTube, I promise you Nick's facial expressions every time we dial this up is worth the price of admission for our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to that and go check it out if you haven't already. Because if you hear me laughing before the question's over, I'm staring at Nick.
This is a good one. This is a good one.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I feel like the easy cop-out answer that I'm not going to say is Office Depot.
I was going to say
Office. Okay, that's so lame, though.
I'm not going to be
one of you guys
that
would be
guy.
like Staples or some shit. Come on.
No,
I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going Kinko's. Don't worry. This is tough. Like, am I talking about like and being able to get the most work done, or...
Not necessarily,
because then I'm gonna say like big screen store or Best Buy, because then I'm just gonna check out and like go sit in one of those big recliners in like the TV section all day.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
This is a good question. I originally thought like, I guess it depends on where you work too, maybe a little bit, or what you do.
Sure.
I at first I was thinking IKEA would maybe be an interesting one. I mean, if you work for a business that's shipping a lot of stuff, like logistically you need that. And I also think it could get kind of like toxic with the amount of navigating you'd have to do, and I would just love to see people be like, "Where did he sit in?" And it's like,
It would
I
be
don't-
funny to not know where people are, and you got to get on like Slack, and you're like, where can I find you right now? Or like,
Yeah.
we're having a meeting in the
Drop your
lamp
pin.
section,
And all the rooms are like in Swedish names, so no one knows like where everything is.
Drop your
going
pin
around
and
each corner. You're like,
put it in maps. Drop your pin.
I feel like, can I change mine from Best Buy? I feel like I'm gonna bump it to Walmart.
okay, that's a good one. That's a
Because
good
like,
one.
can
There's
you
a
be
lot to work with there.
Can you be unhappy in a Walmart? I don't think the answer is yes.
Oh,
Because they've got pretty much everything.
right.
Costco, I'd throw that in there.
Costco would
Costco's
be
a good one
crazy.
too.
See,
I would get
I
a little
think,
sick of the number of people that were in
Oh
there.
my god, yeah,
But-
yeah. Keep in mind, you don't have it rented out. The customers are there.
Oh,
they are moving
shit.
about, and you're just kind of like, thank you,
Damn.
sorry, I'm just, sorry. You know, you're just kind of somewhere in there.
Mac, what do you have for this?
So my instinct was like a department store for the same reason we were talking about like a IKEA or something, just because it's big. There's a lot of places you can go. Like maybe for an hour, I'm gonna go sit on one of like the beds at like a Macy's or something like that, you know. And then like for a little bit, maybe I'll go and like post up in the like gaming section and like work on one of the laptops there or something like that. There's a lot of like diversity. I like that in an office space where you're not just at your desk all day. It'd be nice to kind of have a campus, if you will, to move about. But then I got a brain blast.
Ooh.
Grocery store.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
popped up into my head when I was
Like,
thinking
that could be
Walmart. I
kinda
was also
crazy.
thinking like Target because they've got like a huge grocery store section.
The problem with the grocery store is there's really not going to be anywhere for you to sit.
And there's a ton of people all the time.
And you're gonna be
Mhm.
hungry like
Yeah.
for like 12 hours a day.
What about like
pretty
a cell
much.
phone store? What about like an AT&T store or something?
Oh, I'd
like
kill
that?
myself.
Yeah, I actually.
Because
Actually,
anytime I'm
yeah.
in there, I already want to do that.
I mean,
So
that's
just
true.
like just by
But I was
association,
just
setting
thinking just
foot on the
'cause, like,
premise.
There's not going to be a whole lot of foot traffic. You know, there's going to be like a customer an hour, like all day long, or like two an
But
hour or something like
You
that.
have to listen to that interaction between that customer and the cell phone.
And he's
like,
got the
what do you
spiel
call
down
them?
and he's saying the
Technician,
whole thing. Yeah.
doctor, cell phone doctor.
Yeah.
Also,
doctor.
I'll give you one that I think would be the worst place to do it.
Okay.
Not that that's the question. The
Yeah, me?
Apple Store.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Just,
Terrible.
excuse me.
Yeah, dude.
PC. How does this work?
Fucking awful. Every
so
time you walk
bad.
by one of those, it's a zoo.
Yes.
Does
awful.
Dave and Buster's doesn't count as a store, right? Because that would just be the best.
That
I mean, I
that's
don't
not a
think so.
store.
That's just a place. That's
it's
like
not a
that'd be like if you
store.
were like, the movies, obviously.
Yeah, true.
That's like more of an activity.
PetSmart would be chaos. You could just let all the animals out.
Hit me up with
Shit.
that, actually. Hit me
Yeah.
up. I would take that. They got all the cats in like the cases. So on my lunch break, I could go over there and just like,
Where's Johnson?
play with
He's
them.
like, oh, he's in the morning sales meeting over in the reptile section.
yeah. Like, yo, that would be so good. Where's Johnson?
Johnson.
Oh, not Johnson.
I
All
guess
right.
I'll lock in IKEA to get. I don't know. That's kind of lame, but
no, that's a good answer. I really like it, actually.
it's a good. So I have to ask, what was the original question that you didn't want to
So
steal?
the original question was actually it was a good one, but it was too similar to one we've already done. It was, what letter of the alphabet would make the best apartment layout? Like, and he actually ended up, I think, saying E, because you got like 3 rooms, then you've got like a
Okay.
long space. There was a lot of good answers. A is actually kind of cool, not like an A-frame house, but like the letter is flat. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
that's like your but I started thinking about that, and then I was like, well, I got to change it some. What if I did like office layout or something? And then I was like, wait, even better.
Brain blast. Yeah.
What if you moved your office to a popular store?
There we
I
go.
like that. I like that. That's always a creative question that makes me think. I like
All right,
that.
and bonus question here, because this was one that Harry had earlier. Let me just get from the hip real quick. Not going to spend a ton of time here. One current or former NHL player that for 420 you would like to share a smoke with.
Well, there's an easy answer. We shared a reel of this guy earlier today on our social.
Oh,
The spaceman himself. Like, how can you not pick Ilya Brizgalov?
that is a good one.
It's a very good answer. Mac, do you have one?
I was thinking Caps, but I thought Oshie would be a pretty fun one, honestly, because I know he parties. I know he's down to have fun. Although I also thought, if we're talking Caps, Kuznetsov could be a good one.
That would be a trip.
We know he's a goofy guy already, and that could be a good one.
I feel like who's one that would be a good first that came to mind, honestly, I think Joe Thornton would be a good one. And we just talked about a little bit with Kellen. That would be an interesting one. I feel like he's a interesting cat.
I was thinking about this today when who posted it? Was it someone posted it on Twitter or Instagram or something?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, I don't know why I started thinking about like old school guys, and I was like, wouldn't Gretzky just be like the coolest person to sit down like with over that? And then he just tells you 1,000 stories about the 80s.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Brett Hall would probably be a really good one.
Oh man, that would be a fun one.
Sean Avery was a popular one.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I could handle that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either.
I don't think so. I'll pass on that one. All right, boys. Well, let's quit dicking around here. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. We're recording this on the evening of 420, as you probably could have guessed by that question. Currently, while we're recording this, we have game 2 of Leafs Lightning and game 2 of Rangers Devils. And then later tonight, we have who's the West teams? VGK and the Jets, game 2.
And the Kraken and the Avs.
Yes, sir.
So just keep that in mind as we're recording here. Follow our YouTube. Obviously, we're going to be dishing out some OT reports for game recaps and pre-game picks. So definitely go subscribe at Empty Betters. All right, Bruins, Panthers. We've got 2 games under our belt. The series is knotted up 1-1. The Bruins took the first game 3-1. Pastrnak, Marchand, and DeBrusk all scored for the Bruins. Bergeron did not play, allegedly due to illness. There were actually a bunch of Bruins players that reported they were sick. And then game 2, Bergeron misses the second game again, and the Panthers win this one 6-3. And there was quite a bit of violence in this one. I would say Brandon Montour clearly led the way for the Cats. He's also the first Panthers defenseman in franchise history to score 2 goals in a playoff game.
He played awesome. And
he did.
You know, game 1 is everything I expected from the Boston Bruins. Their, Pastrnak scores, Marchand scores, and then DeBrusk scores again in the playoffs, after requesting a trade and all that nonsense. That was prototypical. I thought Alex Lyon looked good in game 1. I won't say great. I'll say good. Game 2, I would be concerned if I was a Bruins fan. They let in goals like within the first minute of the second and the third periods and just totally let that game slip away from them.
And I thought he looked really good in game 2.
I thought he looked significantly better in game 2 than he did in game 1.
Yeah, and it's an interesting storyline there, not starting the $10 million goalie Sergei Bobrovsky, 2-time Vezina winner. But hey, I don't necessarily disagree with it.
Is there anyone in the league that's built for this kind of hockey against the big mean Bruins as they've traditionally always been than Matthew Tkachuk, dude? That guy is a fucking
It's an interesting
gamer.
Interesting matchup, no doubt.
Him and the Lamborghini are out there just running people over and running their mouths. They're having a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Lomberg got in a scruff, and then obviously, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the hot mic on ESPN.
Oh God, that was
a hot mic.
That was a hot mic with Tkachuk.
Yeah.
You can listen to that one yourself if you want. But the Panthers, man, that game too, they didn't just beat the Bruins, they whipped the Bruins. And good.
I think that's a great way to put it. The Montour scores coming out of the second into the third within the first minute, and they restore their 2-goal lead, correct? And so at about 15 minutes to go 13 minutes to go in that period, I'm thinking, all right, Boston's going to get 2 in 5 minutes, and this is going to be a brand new game. They're going to score a third one with 5 to go, game's over. And the Panthers just pulled away with it. Yeah. They completely took the Bruins out of the game.
I thought the same thing. I really didn't expect the Cats to get one of these first 2 games, but they did their job, right? They stole a game in Boston, and now we go back to FLA, and that'll be really interesting to see how the rest of that one plays out.
The Bruins are absolutely a much better team, and I still fully expect them to win this series, but these are the kind of wins that playoff upsets are built on.
Yeah, well, it's good. At the very least, we get a little bit of a series here. It's more fun if it's 1-1, so I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And as long as Bergeron's out, I mean, that's a huge factor
Yeah.
here. That's their heart and soul of their team.
Dude must be
He's
really
not
sick.
playing.
And you're right. There was like a flu bug or something going around the whole locker room because ahead of game one, they didn't even know if either of their starting goalies were going to be ready to go. And Allmark ended up playing. I can't imagine he probably felt 100%. He was probably kind of sick still, but he got the win.
So going into this third game coming up, if the Panthers take that, if you're the Bruins, are you panicked?
Oh yeah. Well, maybe not panicked, but I'm definitely like
Concerned?
concerned.
You're
Like,
putting
okay.
yourself in a tough spot right away for sure. You gotta get ahead of them because that next one's in Florida too. Like that's the tough part about that one is it's not the end of the world if you lose one of these games in Florida, but it can't.
But it
be the
makes that
first
fourth one an essential must-win game.
It needs to be the second one if you're gonna do one because you can't lose that momentum.
the Bruins lost 7 games at home ice all year long, and the Cats came in and just beat them 6-3.
Hey,
And
we always say it the playoff versus
Yeah.
like regular season home
Totally
away
different.
record, different beast.
We talked about it last episode, like the challenge of playing the same team multiple times, like within the span of a week, is I don't think enough people take that into consideration.
It's sick because you watch teams kind of figure it out, right? I mean, like
Yep.
the Panthers looked like they didn't have a chance in game one for a couple shifts there at least, and then you start to watch some of game two, and you're like, okay, they're making adjustments. They're kind of like, all right, I know you're gonna do this, and you know, the longer it goes, the more you're familiar with the opponent. That's the most fun part about it.
Yep.
2 names I just want to say that I think people are not talking about enough. We already mentioned once, Montour. You guys know he had 73 points in 80 games this season. He was a beast.
Yep.
Yeah, people
That was
forget.
a great pickup for Florida when they got him from Anaheim.
Yeah.
They talk about Ekblad being the anchor back there. I think this guy's maybe better this season for them. And then I can't believe I'm saying this, but no one's talking about Barkov. Like
Yeah.
Chuck.
Again, no
Lyon.
one's talking about Barkov.
Yeah, for the
Sasha.
70th time. So, game 3 predictions. Let's get them out there. What do you think happens? I don't need a score. I just need a team.
4-3 Bruins in overtime.
I like that. I think the Bruins will win. I'm not going to give you a score for that one, but I think Bruins take game 3.
I'm gonna get a little toxic here, and I don't know what the odds will be, but I think the Cats are gonna take game 3. I see a little panic setting in, just a tiny bit.
I would love to see it.
I would
Yeah.
love to see that too. And like I actively don't like that hockey team, but I'm still somehow rooting for them.
Speaking of a little panic, you want to get into this next one here?
Big panic. Yeah, the Maple Leafs and the Lightning. So the Lightning absolutely destroy the Leafs in game 1, 7-3. Belmar, Sorelli, Kucherov, Point, Perry, Colton, they all score. O'Reilly, Nylander, Cha-ching, if you know, you know. And Jan Kruk all score for the Leafs. Chernak is going to miss game 2. Hedman's a game-time decision. I think the biggest storyline here, Michael Bunting gets a 3-game sussy for his hit on, name's escaping me. Who did he hit?
I think it was wasn't that Chernak?
It was Chernak. Yeah,
it
was Chernak.
Chernak. It was a defenseman. So, yeah, Bunting, 3-game sussy. That one blows. Samsonov, hot mic, was like, yeah, I sucked. I'm going to play better. He was out with the goaltender coach 30 minutes ahead of morning skate this morning, working on some point shots and deflections.
Yeah, so that'll fix everything for
Yeah,
sure.
fix everything. He didn't drop his stick. He did not
He
drop
put in
his
an
stick.
extra 30 minutes in the
Right.
morning. Okay, then he's good to go now.
Before I toss it to you guys for your thoughts, I just want to make it very known that the biggest thing that I have seen on Twitter from one game of this series is that Wes McCauley, when reffing the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Leafs are 0-8.
Oh, grow up.
That'll tell you-
If you're one of the
Who
people
is
saying
digging
that.
up this like baseball ass stat of like when the wind blows and the Mets have a right-handed pitcher throwing? Like, you know,
Credit to Jay Fresh. I saw a tweet from them today that was like, I'm here to like address something that we've all been talking about for a really long time. I finally made a thread. Here's all the like hard like facts to back up how like refs are like totally like favoring one team over another in the NHL playoffs. A thread down below, and you click like show, and there's just nothing because that's just not what's happening.
And someone else pointed out that the head referee for game 2, I think his name is Nick Paul, not the player for
Oh my God.
or no, it's not Nick Paul. No. The ref that's reffing tonight was the guy who like called the Nick Paul goal in game 7 last year, something like that. I can't remember. They're making up all this
okay.
stuff.
Okay.
But
yeah, whatever. It's literally like the SpongeBob like drawing X's on the blackboard and every which way.
All right, thoughts, comments, concerns. Nick, go.
So at the end of the day, this is Leafs Nation, so they're going to do what Leafs Nation do. You know, I was texting with good friend of the program, Nick Bowens, while he was outside of Scotiabank Arena watching this travesty happen. And guys, at the end of the day, this is still one loss. It's 7-3, but it is still one loss. So everyone needs to calm down. Now, the problem is, if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, you let Tampa Bay put up 3 goals on you in the first period, and you let them score in the final minute of the first and the second period. And when I say final minute, I mean like final 10 seconds. You can't have that happen. They pulled it back. It was 3-2 at one point, and then this game finishes 7-3. They just rolled over and died.
Nick, I'm with you that it's only one game, right? And hopefully, obviously it doesn't feel like that for a lot of the diehards. We get it. But if you're on the team, hopefully that's something that the players in the locker room are like, really taking to heart. It's only one game. Hopefully they're not the ones panicking. And I think that's why they go out and get a guy like Ryan O'Reilly. I think that's somebody that's there to try and like provide a little bit of like calm in a time like this and be like, dude, don't freak out. I haven't been a part of all these blow-ups. Like, they got to bring some guys in who know how to like get through some of the adversity like that. And I think that'll help. What doesn't help is something that I've been saying all year long, and I'm here to rub it in everybody's face who's been sending me stats about what a great year Samsonov has had all season. It's the playoffs, baby. It's different. And he looked like hot dog shit.
Look at Harry.
So
I don't know who sent you stats. It wasn't me.
okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't know what, who knows? Maybe he'll have a bounce back game tonight while we're recording this, but I just don't. That is something that as a Caps fan.
Yeah, speak of the devil, because we're recording during game 2. Nick, you can read it off.
Update.
Because you know how they let Tampa put up 3 on them in the first period in game 1? They're returning the favor in game 2. It's 3-0 Maple Leafs after 1.
All right. Well, there you go. Maybe I'll eat shit. But I don't know. I started to panic as a Caps fan watching his performance in game 1 because I know what he's capable of doing in terms of atrocities. And, we all saw it. So.
Just one other note about the goal. Mac, I totally agree with what you're saying. And one other note about the Leafs game currently happening. Do you remember what I said last episode about their star players not being able to beat Vasilevsky like around 4 or 5 times? The goals tonight have been scored by Marner, Tavares, and Nylander.
Yeah. Dude, William Nylander, let's just take a moment. I love this guy. Probably my favorite player in the Leafs. I'm a huge Matthews fan too, but Big Willie, as I call him. Dude, that guy is a playoff machine. He scores in every big game. I would be riding him anytime goal scorer on a nightly basis at this point. He has been
Wasn't he a Team Maryland kid when he was living here? I thought someone told me that.
Great question.
Don't quote me on that. I could be totally wrong, but I thought someone said
Elite
that.
prospects might say. I don't know. But
probably.
yeah, let's assume Leafs hold on to the 3-0 lead and Ilya Samsonov firmly grasps it. We head back to the Sunshine
let's check
State.
Back in after the conclusion of the second period.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, next series. We've got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. The Canes, they take game 1 2-1. Rana gets the start. Aho and Nosen score for the Canes. And then Pollock for the Islanders. We move on to game 2. That was a 4-3 OT thriller with a very controversial no call that we'll talk about in a second. Big storyline there. Teuvo Teravainen is out indefinitely with a broken hand after that slash that he took. Yeah, it's a wild series. Mac, I think you said it. It's like the Islanders look like they suck, but they've also only lost by 1 in both games. It's a weird one. What are your thoughts on this series?
So I had to do my fake snoring there where you were talking about game 1 because that was a very boring game of hockey. Game 2 was a fun one, though. I really enjoyed watching game 2. I'm torn on the OT call. I did hear a lot of people also saying that the Canes had like 8 guys skating around at one point in overtime. Didn't see it myself, but if that's the case, that is a bad one. The high stick one, I know you sent the Mike Rupp like explanation video of it. I don't know if I'm really buying that explanation.
I didn't either.
Because it's like you got to be in control of your stick. It doesn't really matter
That's what
if
they
somebody
always
else
tell you.
ramps it up.
Right.
I've seen that call get made a million times in the regular season at least, and I know a different beast, whatever. But I don't think that that's a reason to not call it because he bounced his stick from his own stick into his face. Like that's just a weird explanation. Either way, we got to move on, right? You can't get hung up on it. Should have been called, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Islanders got to find a way to fucking win this next game, obviously.
I mean, I'm in total agreement with what you just said. It's a penalty. It should have been called. It's a missed call, and this is what happens. This is how fast this game can turn around and burn you. You know, I think there were multiple chances for the Islanders to win that game down the stretch in that third period, and they didn't do it. You know, it's one of those ones where, you know, don't let yourself get put in that situation in the first place, you can say. But once again, you know, hindsight's 2020.
They've also scored a bunch of like shitty goals, basically.
They have.
Like it's just been a bunch of garbage, which if anything, that should just mean, look, it's Antti-Ranta and that it's not Vasilevsky. Shoot the puck a little bit more.
Right.
Like,
I don't know what's going on with the ice, the boards, the sticks in that series, but that puck is made out of like Super Ball rubber. It's moving, it's bouncing. If I was either of those teams, I would just continue to shoot the hell out of it because
absolutely
it's doing crazy things right now.
Yeah.
Well, the series is going to shift back to Strong Island. Obviously, I would even say probably the hardest barn to play in. I mean, that place is toxic.
What do you guys think about Sorokin so far?
I mean, game 1, 2-1, hard to really like fault him too much, but that Slavin goal, did you guys see that Slavin goal from he shot it from like the corner? It's like, dude, you gotta cut it. You gotta take your angle a little stronger.
It hasn't been amazing, but it's not like it's not all been his fault.
Yeah, it's not the goals for me. It's the rebounds. They've been active and they've been directly either back at the shooter or to someone who was in a good scoring opportunity. It just doesn't look comfortable to me. I mean, it's only been 2 games and it's been on the road, so who knows?
What are your guys' thoughts for game 3 as we shift the series back to Long Island?
I think the Islanders get one.
Yeah, I picked the Isles to win that series. I got to at least stick with them for now and say they're going to find a way to win that game and stay in this thing. So,
yeah, I'm looking at the odds right now. It is basically a pick 'em for game 3. So,
tough one.
Go with your gut there.
That's going to be a loud ass building.
One last thing. Do you guys think we're going to see Freddie Anderson or like only if they lose or?
I think if they continue to win games, you're just going to continue to see Ranta. I think if the Islanders maybe win the next 2, maybe you see Anderson in game 5.
Sure. That makes sense.
Don't pull a Dean Evison here.
But I don't think after one loss, Brenda Moore's going to shelf Ranta.
No, I agree. I'd take the Islanders game 3 too. I think that barn's going to be absolutely bumping. You're going to see a really good bet that a lot of people have been taking, and I hammered all 4 of them tonight. Take first period puck line for the team that's down in the series that really needs to win. I would imagine the Islanders come out absolutely humming in the first period of game 3.
Honestly, for that series too, Carolina to score first.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just going to continue to score first.
They might. That's a good point. I mean, and play heartbreaker here. Pick a money. Game 3. I mean, Carolina's clearly the better team. It just depends what you're riding.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to the next series. The Battle of the Hudson. We got the Devils versus the Rangers. Not much of a game 1 to really talk about. I mean, it was a 5-1 win for the Rags. It was a miracle overhit for me, so thanks. Jack Hughes scores a penalty shot for the Devils, but other than that, it was all Rangers. Tarasenko.
It wasn't like really 5-1 though. Wasn't there like an empty netter? And then it was kind of like a 3-1, 4-1 game. Yeah.
I was surprised the goalie was pulled too, to be honest, but
me too, but I was praying to God at that point. Tarasenko gets 1. Kreider gets 2 and is now the all-time leading New York Ranger playoff goal scorer.
That's nuts.
That is crazy, actually.
And then we get Lindgren and Heedle with 1. Yeah, let's suck off Crides a little bit.
What's
American
his
boy.
total?
I think he's I'll look it up. It's either 45 or 35. I'll look it up. But you guys
it's like it's one of those tricky stats because like the Rangers like won that
Have
cup
been around forever, so
but
that's
they're
why
like they're kind of the worst out of the original 6 teams in terms of like winning.
Yeah,
So,
like way back in the day, especially.
yeah. Like I
No,
think
that's fair.
they didn't win any cups between 1940 and 94.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right. That's a weird stat.
Chris Kreider all time. Oh no, that's 4 days ago. Well, he only had 1 goal, right? And that or 2 goals. So he has 36.
Okay.
36 playoff goals. He is now the leader all time in the playoffs for the Rangers in goals, power play goals, and game winning goals.
Wow.
How about that?
And then someone said, does
Yep.
number 20 deserve to be in the rafters at MSG? Don't know. That's a good
Don't
question.
know. We'll see what they do this postseason, I guess.
I think if they win a Stanley Cup, yes. Or
If he wins a Stanley Cup,
or
he's
if
a
he
shoo-in.
ends his career there, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so we know game 1 it was all rags, and Lindgren, man, I would kill to have that guy on my team. He's just an absolute warrior in the
I'd
playoffs.
kill to
Bring him
have
over the Caps. He's
any
got a
of their
brother there.
defense on my team.
Yeah, true.
Game 2 thoughts, predictions. I'm looking now live.
We're
have
zip
0-0.
with like 9 to go in the first.
Devils getting outshot kind of bad again, though, right away.
Yeah, it's 8-3.
What are your thoughts, Nick? I mean, we've got the experience versus the inexperience. We all know the storylines.
Uninspired is what I'm going to use my word as for the Devils here, is what I thought in that first game. It's not that, it's not that they didn't have life. It didn't look like it was there. Maybe it was game 1 nerves. Maybe they were overwhelmed. I don't know. But New York just put their foot on the gas right away and didn't take it off. And it's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what,
Devils, if that keeps up.
I'll tell you what, they better find a way, the Devils, that is, to win this game, because a lot of people forget. I almost forgot for a second. The Devils are the higher seed here. They have home ice advantage. If they don't win tonight, then they got to go in and win at least 1 game at MSG. That is not a easy task. Easy. So, yeah, they better hope they can find a way to come out on top here while we're recording.
I'm going to say they get it done. They get it done tonight. That's what I'm going with.
I would like to think that.
I do have money on the Devils tonight, one of my picks. Jack Hughes, I mean, he did score. It was on a penalty shot, oddly enough, but definitely some frustration there.
I did like what I totally forget who was calling that game. It was the guy between the glass said. He was like, hey, this goal matters. That's your star player going out there one-on-one against their goalie and saying, hey, I can beat you.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that.
Good point.
He did look frustrated. I mean, the Rangers were suffocating him all game. I think he's getting a fairly good taste of, 1, some big defenseman that he's going up against as a smaller guy, and 2, his first playoff run. So, all right, you guys are thinking Devils game 2. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
I thought this series was going to go 7 originally. Might change that to 6. We'll see. Stay tuned. I think the Rag will take it in 6 at this point, but we will see. All right, let's move out west. The Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights. The Jets as underdogs, fairly decent underdogs actually. Take game 1 5-1. Kyle Connor, Nick Cha-ching, PLD, Wheeler, and Lowry has 2, and then Carlson scores for Vegas. I know this one went viral everywhere. Jets forward Morgan Barron takes a skate to the face, gets 75 stitches, and then comes back less than a period later. Hockey guy of the week.
Animal.
That shit's awesome. I love when we.
Did you guys watch like the replay at all?
Yeah, it was brutal.
It's crazy.
The post game presser where he's just completely sliced up.
Yeah. Shout out to former Cap Chandler Stevenson, who was kind of like the guy like running into him, from behind, and he, when he saw what happened, like pulled him up and saw right away. And I absolutely did the right thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Thoughts on the game?
Not what I expected. Honestly, I'll start with that. I mean, the Jets, I should have probably given them a little more credit. They looked good. You start to wonder, do we see the goalie carousel happen? Because That's what we talked about in the preview. That's
Yep.
what the big question mark was going into this series in Vegas. And so I don't know, have they confirmed a goalie for tonight yet?
I haven't checked,
already.
but Mac, I'm going to echo everything you said. You know, I did pick the Jets in 6 in this series, I believe. I picked the Jets. I don't know if it was 6 or not. I can't remember, but yeah, I mean, not what I expected at all either. I was happy that they won 5-1, and definitely happy, Harry, that we made some money on Kyle Connor scoring.
So they are going back to Brossois tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
They got Boissois versus Hellbook in net for game 2.
And honestly, something else to mention, shots the first game were 31 for the Jets and only 17 for the Knights. So I mean, more than anything, it's like not really the goalie's fault. They didn't shoot the puck enough to have a chance.
I think that Vegas is in a lot more trouble than they think after this game 1 loss, because I think the Jets are more than capable of winning this second game.
Yeah.
You don't want to play catch up against Connor Hellbuck.
You do not want to play,
I mean, that's
and you don't want to play catch up having to go into Winnipeg to do it.
Oh my God, no. This is a similar like Devils, how badly they need to win before they go to MSG. You can't go into Winnipeg without a win yet in this series. They will
Hellebuck and that atmosphere in my brain count as 1 win out of those 2 games already.
Right. They'll cheer you out of that town for sure.
Exactly.
1-0 Jersey.
Yep.
There we go.
They get on the board. We got a goal from Eric Howla.
Nice.
So there you go.
He's a gamer.
Playoff legend, Eric Howla.
Mm-hmm.
Game 2 thoughts and predictions for Jets Knights. I do think VGK gets it done tonight. Jack Eichel had an absolutely awful game 1. I know that was said by a lot of VGK fans. I think he's going to come out tonight shooting the puck a lot. I think he scores, gets his first playoff goal of his career. However, I am very nervous if I'm a VGK fan. I feel like I really underestimated the Jets. Nick, kudos to you for the underdog pick. That looks decent right now.
Yeah.
They kind of remind me of like the Islanders the year they went to the conference final. Just like not a ton of people that you think twice about, but guys that just play like this Morgan Barron kid just plays so freaking hard.
They're a heavy hitting team. The Jets always have been branded that way. Like they'll put the hurt on you for sure.
Yep.
So what do you guys think for
play catch up?
Game 2 thoughts?
I'm going to go right back to the Jets based on what I saw in game 1.
I like it. I'll stick with the Knights. I think they badly need to win tonight, and they're going to find a way to get it done.
We have the odds for that game in front of us here. We've got the Jets as plus 140 underdogs.
Oh, if that's the case, though, I mean, yeah, low key, hard to pass up after what we saw in game 1.
Vegas minus 160. That is a hefty price.
That's a little steep unless they know something we don't.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next series. If I didn't get rid of my notes on my tab, that would have been awesome. Nick, do you want to tee it off while I get back online here?
I think, can we go ahead and call this the best series already? It's the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. Like, I've had the most fun watching these games, I think, out of any other one so far. Game 1, the Kings take it in a stunner 4-3 in overtime. The Oilers bounce back in game 2. But guys, right off the bat, I think the biggest story for me has to be that the LA Kings have held Connor McDavid to 1 assist through 2 games.
First of all, I'm with you. This has definitely been the best one. Definitely been my favorite one to watch so far. I feel like I have a little more skin in the game. Harry and I both, because I don't know if it's just me or what. It seems like Harry and I are the only 2 people on the face of the earth that picked the Kings to win this series. Like, I saw everyone posting their brackets and looking at it. I don't think anyone, like especially all the analysts on NHL Network and whatnot, all the ESPN guys, no one picked the Kings. So I really want to be right about this, but they look good so far. And especially given the circumstances, they were missing Velarde for game 1. He came back for game 2.
Scores in game 2.
Yep. But they're still missing Fiala, right? Yeah. So it's Kempe has been great. Kopitar has been great.
Kopitar's been unreal.
Yeah, Kopitar, man, he looks like he's in his prime right now, which is crazy to say. But
and in a way, most important of all, I thought Korpisalo looked great in game 2.
Absolutely.
Game 1, okay. Game 2 was great.
I gotta hand it to Morgan. I was shitting on them for that trade so much, saying first of all, Copley's good enough, and second of all, don't trade quick. I think that was smart as hell because in hindsight, you look at it now, I don't think you want to put a ton of pressure on a guy like Phoenix Copley to go again. I mean, yes, he was good for you down the stretch in the regular season, but you don't want that to be your only option.
No, absolutely.
And Corpusalo, man, like you said, they've really he's showed that he can rise to the occasion here. He's looked good.
This is my favorite series. And Mac, I agree. Every single person that we have talked to has Edmonton in the third round of the Cup final.
Yep.
Nick, I think you're included in that. Not trying to pin you down there.
I had a hard
Nope, you
time
guys
doing
are
it,
right.
but I had Morgan as a bug in my ear the whole time, and
I told Mac last episode this was the series that took me, no lie, 20 minutes to pick. I sat there literally going back and forth, but I just couldn't pick against McDavid.
No, it's hard.
I understand that. The Kings they're a fun team, man.
Yeah,
I know
they
I've
are.
said that a lot, but I love.
They go
watching
down.
them.
Here's the thing: they go down 2-0 in both of these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they make it back and win the first one, but you can't be doing that. Like,
yeah,
I will say also, Skinner, as good as he has been all season long, I was still not sold on the Oilers because I was like, is this guy going to rise to the occasion? I think he's been okay, but there's a couple goals where I'm like,
I've shit on this guy like all year.
I think it's starting to show like that this just isn't like you don't have like a super reliable option here. I know he's gotten the job done and he's had some good stretches, but like there was a particular goal, and I wish I could remember who scored it now, but it was one where he's coming around, the goal scorer is coming around the crease and like kind of goes right through the crease and like tucks it in like a wraparound, but goes far side. And like Skinner follows him the whole way, but just doesn't quite get there. And it like goes against his skate, goes in the net. That he's like in the crease though. That's your crease, dude. Like you got to be more aggressive. You got to
if you don't get the puck, get him.
Yeah, or like do something. And he's just like all the way in his net, like following the puck until it's behind him. And I was like, okay, this is starting to show that you guys don't have like a top tier goalie here.
Like when you accidentally put your controller in goalie mode.
Yes. Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. I'm not sold.
One other note I have from game one, Evan Bouchard woke up.
Holy rocket.
Holy shit. Can that guy shoot the puck?
Yeah, that was an absolute nip.
That's exactly, what they were waiting for when they drafted this guy. And I think they were all so excited to see that show up in the playoffs. I mean, he had another one that went dead off the post, and it was like a totally different tone.
The kid's a shooter.
That it made.
I mean,
absolutely.
Like he's playing to his strengths. He needs to shoot the puck more. He's got a wicked shot.
Rooting for the Kings hard though. I love Philip Deneau, man. What a trade that, or was he assigned? No, they signed him, I think.
That's that goal he scored was really nice, just on and off his stick. Like just
plus
he looked like such a pro doing it.
He's been shadowing McDavid the entire series, and look at their ice time. It's nearly identical, and the fact that he's held him to essentially 1 point and prevented him from
power play.
Right, like this is nuts.
Yeah, I love Deneau. The way he plays, I love his game. I do want to read this one stat because we've been talking about McDavid, Bouchard, Kopitar, all these guys. Leon Draisaitl. Let me hit you up with this one. He had 2 goals in game 1, and then he had a goal in game 2. He now has 21 goals and 43 assists in his career in the playoffs through 39 career games. There are only 2 other players in the history of the NHL that have 20-plus goals and 40-plus assists through their first 40 playoff games. Can you guess who they are?
Gretzky and Lemieux.
Amen. Bing, bing, bing.
Wow.
Not bad company to be in. That dude is a gamer. So
no, I mean, he's in a way almost single-handedly kept the Oilers alive in both of these games. I mean, when you consider that, like Mac was saying, that they were up 2-0 in both games, and then they blew those leads, the goals he's provided, I don't really think you can put a price on.
All right, game 3 predictions. We've got, and I already know what I know what Mac's going to say. Game 3 predictions, we've got Edmonton as -140 road favorites. The LA Kings are +120 home underdogs. Over-under is set at 6.5. I'm taking the Kings game 3. I don't know about you guys.
I think I am too. I think they get back on top here. I've liked their game so far. They got to shoot the puck a little more, but I think I like them to win next game.
I think McDavid breaks through in game 3, and then I think the Kings tie it up in game 4.
I could see that. One of these games is going to go to OT again. I feel like this one's going to have like 2 or 3 OT games.
Oh, I could see both of these games in LA going to overtime.
Margarita Mac.
I would love nothing more to see that. I'll have to let you know after a margarita on game day. Those are the rules. I don't make them. I just follow them.
All right, next series. You've got the defending Cup champs, the Colorado Avalanche, against the expansion team, the Seattle Kraken, making their first postseason appearance. And the Kraken, with an incredible upset as huge underdogs in game 1, take the game 3-1. Tolvanen, Wenberg, and Geeky score for Seattle, and Rantanen scores for the Avs. I saw one tweet from Jay Fresh that made me laugh because he tweeted it before the game. He goes, "Wouldn't it be funny if the Avalanche got goalied by Philip Grubauer?" And sure as shit, that's exactly what happened. Thoughts?
I mean, the dude made 34 of 35 saves in game 1 against his former team and the Stanley Cup defending champs. That's pretty darn good.
I think we could very easily see a capital scenario here where they win the Stanley Cup and then lose in the first round the following year. I don't know why that Avs team did not look good in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we see them bounce back in game 2, but like Harry, like you said, Philip Grubauer looked good, like good enough to steal that series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I slept on the Jets. You didn't. One team that I kind of liked all year, and I liked them in this series. I didn't pick them, but I still like them to make it competitive. I've really liked the way the Kraken play, especially on the road. They've been a road team all season. That's where they thrive. So yeah, that's a hell of a game 1.
Let's not forget Tolvanen was waived by the Preds.
He was. Yeah, people forget. He was one of the best fantasy pickups I made. Game 2 is tonight. We've got the Kraken coming in at plus 190. I know our buddy Terry is on them again to really make things dramatic for Colorado. Colorado is minus 230. That's a pretty hefty price. I would imagine McKinnon's going to shoot the puck 9 times. He had 7 shots in game 1. I think he's going to have like 9 or 10 in game 2.
I would take the Avs to bounce back tonight.
I
would think so too. I mean, that's the obvious pick, right?
You would think. One guy that I think people should keep their eye on, I tweeted this out earlier from the EB account. Jared McCann had 40 goals this season. He's like plus 240 to score against the Avs like all series long.
That's crazy.
It's a fat price.
Definitely bang that.
Yeah. So I'd be looking at that. Nick, you gonna change your pick? You think Seattle pulls off the upset, or do you think it was just a 1-game wonder?
I think after watching game 1, I think Seattle very likely could. I don't think they will. I think it's going to take a lot for them to.
They've proved a lot of people that they're at least in it, right?
Like if this goes 7 now, I wouldn't be shocked.
Right. Or 6 at least. Yeah.
I would still, based on, you have to do the roster test. You look at that Avs roster. I think you still take them to win the series.
Mm-hmm.
You would think. And I agree with that. I think they'll bounce back in game 2. And this is something I said earlier. If you don't want to lay the minus 230, I would bet a lot of money that the Avs are going to end up spanking the Kraken in the first period. If you bet on puck line, you can get that at plus 130. That's a lot better of a price than minus 230. So
decent.
Keep your eye on that first period puck line. All right. The last series before we move on to discussions and trivia. Probably my second favorite series behind LA and Edmonton, the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. This series has been
chaos factory.
It has been absolutely crazy. We need like more of what we saw in that game 1 though. I mean, the second game I think was good, but I want more of the overtime, the double overtime shit. That's what we need here.
Yeah, I think the biggest storyline here, the Wild take game 1 and start Philip Gustafsson. It goes to double OT and they win the game 3-2. Obviously, we'll talk about this in a second. Matt Dumba took over the internet by just destroying Joe Pavelski and put him in concussion protocol. We'll talk about that in a second. And then game 2, Dean Evanson decides to go with Marc-Andre Fleury between the pipes instead of Gustafsson. I'm assuming because he played 5 periods of hockey about 48 hours prior. And the Stars end up whipping them 7-3, and Rupe Hintz scores a hat trick. So Let's talk about the Dumba hit first. Mac, I'll let you start.
I was watching live when this happened, and to me, I think there's a couple things here. I think, is it a late hit? Yeah. Is it a super necessary hit? Probably not. Is it dirty in terms of contact? To me, no. I don't think it's like directly to the head. Obviously, unfortunate result, hits his head on the ice, didn't play the next game, and that's somebody you want to especially see playing. Joe Pavelski rocks. We all love him. But yeah, I don't think that Dumba did anything crazy here. And I don't think he deserved a suspension. I think the NHL actually got this one right. I think they could have given him 2 minutes for interference. They didn't even do that. But that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I think obviously it's an unfortunate result, like I said, but I think not an egregiously bad hit. Maybe a little late. That's it.
I think I'd echo everything Max said. We were, talking, all of us in the group chat at the time of, right after it happened. And in my opinion, it's late. It's unnecessary. This is a hit that probably 10, 15 years ago we would see after nearly every whistle in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Mhm.
You don't see it now. They're trying to take these hits out of the game, and for obvious reason. You never want to see a guy, especially a guy, as loved as Joe Pavelski is, get hurt in a situation like that and have to be helped off the ice. So obviously, hope he can get back to playing and, back to health as soon as possible. I think 2 for interference was the right call. I don't know why that wasn't the case, but I agree with you. I don't really think we were looking at a suspension here. I think the Bunting one, absolutely, you're looking at a suspension. And to be honest, I was a little bit surprised for 3 games for that. But yeah, I'm good with no suspension here. It's going to be interesting to see how this continues to play out. There's a lot of chippy stuff going on back and forth in this series. You've obviously, you've got Ryan Reeves involved in this series. So that's going to be a focal point of it. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Tough guys on both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Unnecessary hit, but not a dirty hit. Definitely a late hit, but
I think
not late enough.
Point of contact was clean, and that's the big thing for me.
Right.
It wasn't late enough, like, Scott Stevens on Lindros. It wasn't quite to that degree. So, I mean, only have a problem with it because I was like, and I think I told you guys this, it's Pavelski. Like, you lay out anybody else on the team, I'm like, okay, but you lay out the 39-year-old vet.
It is kind of like a no.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just that's kind of the part that didn't stick well with me, but it is.
We've also seen that happen with him in the playoffs before. So
you talk about a veteran who deserves a cup. That's the guy who I think out of anybody deserves the cup the most.
Talking about veterans who actually already have a cup, Marc-Andre Fleury. Can anyone tell me why in the hell Dean Evison made a crazy unforced error? You start Philip Gustafson, who I think has had a Vezina near Vezina caliber season. You start him in game 1. He looked good. He didn't play unbelievable, but he looked pretty damn good to me. And he got you the win. I don't see why you change it up after that. I think he should go
holding
game 2.
the Dallas Stars to 2 goals.
No,
it was great.
Good.
Like, come on, good. What are you doing here?
And he made a lot of good saves. And Fleury also has not had a very good year.
No,
and they just flexed for no reason. They're like, oh, well, we have 2 really good goalies. We're going to use them both right away. And it's like, no, you don't. Did anyone see Fleury on that breakaway trying to stack the pads and like just goes right through him and he like slams his stick at? Like, he looks not confident. He looks just like he doesn't think he should be in there. And he shouldn't. So.
And he definitely, he did get hung out to dry a couple times, but Mac, you're right. There were times when he looked like he did not belong in that cage.
I feel like we just saw load management in playoff hockey. Like I guess because they played 5 periods.
Honestly, that's the only thing I can think of that would make him make that decision.
I guess.
But unless there was something said to both of them going into the playoffs, like, hey, you're each going to get a game and whoever plays better is going to take it from there. I don't know, but
I don't know.
I don't think you can do it like that in the postseason.
I don't either.
I don't think that's
I just feel like you don't load manage the second
No.
game of the playoffs. Like that's a
No,
little
you
too
don't.
soon.
You ride the hot hand. If anything, he's gonna feel that guy's in this series. He's dialed the fuck in. He just played 5 periods right off the bat and he won. Send him back out there. Like
maybe
that's what you want is a guy to get on a
maybe
roll
if
like
you're
that.
up 3-0 and like
Yeah,
going
throw
back
him in
home
to get him a game or something. I don't hate that, sure.
Yeah.
But you don't start fucking around with a 1-0 lead in the series. So
No.
Well, we're knotted up at 1 game each. We're taking the series back to Minnesota, the state of hockey. That's going to be a wild scene, no pun intended. Pick them for game 3. Each team is -110. Who you got?
It's interesting. I mean, the Stars scoring woke up in the second game. You know, Hintz, Sagan, Ben, big guns are scoring for them. So you would say momentum is on their side, but I think that building's going to be a lot. I think you put Gustafsson back in the cage. I think Minnie wins a tight one, similar to game 1.
I literally agree with everything Nick just said. Goes back to Minnie, Gustafsson back in net. They win, close game, but wild win.
I picked the Stars to win the series. I don't even know why I did this, but I picked them to go to the Cup for some stupid reason. That was dumb. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, that building's going to be crazy. I feel like the Wild will come out buzzing, probably get a 1-0 lead. I don't know. I'm thinking this game goes to OT. I see 3-2 overtime. I want to say the Stars with every part of me, but I'm going to end up taking the Wild, I think.
Ooh.
I think the Wild will take game 3. That is a series where every night I'd be betting the draw. That's a tight.
That's a good one.
It's gonna happen at least one more time, if not more.
You're gonna probably lose once on like what we saw in game 2. Like there's gonna be like a 5-1, a 5-2, a 7-4, like runaway game. But I like that a lot.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the discussion portion of the episode. We'll do this quickly. All right, Nick, what team have you been most impressed by and least impressed by to the start of the playoffs?
I think most impressed, I gotta go with the LA Kings. Like I said, to hold Connor McDavid to 1 assist through 2 games, I thought they were fantastic.
And then who are you least impressed by?
Least impressed, I'm going to go with the Devils. I know that's a tough one to say, but they just looked flat to me. They didn't really look up to the challenge of playing against the Rangers. Obviously, they've got a 1-0 lead right now. Hopefully, they continue that and finish the game out tonight.
I'm going to agree with the Kings for most impressed. I echo everything he said about LA. Definitely just the most impressive, a little bit of a surprise for some people. And for the least impressed, I'm going to go VGK. 17 shots on goal. Not good enough. Do better.
For most impressed, I am going to go with the Winnipeg Jets.
That's a good one.
I know I said I was sleeping on them, and I really was. They looked dominant in that game 1. With my least impressed, I am going to if I didn't know that the Leafs were winning right now, I'd probably pick them, but I know they're winning. So I'm going to go with the Colorado
They are only
Avalanche.
winning by 2 now, though.
Oh, okay. So he dropped the stick. I'm going to go with the Avalanche. I think game 1, you lose 3-1 to the Kraken. That's a rough one. They just didn't look good. They got goalied too. So I'm looking for more out of them. All right, next question. Road teams went 6-2 in game 1s this year. Which road win has the biggest impact on its series?
I got to go with that Jets win in Vegas. That's a tough building to win in.
I second that one. I was going to say I think the Jets road win was definitely the biggest one for me.
We kind of answered it earlier. It's either that or the Rangers in a way, right? Because like people keep forgetting they're starting off on the road and they maybe shouldn't be, but they kind of lucked out in a weird way, like knocked out home ice.
Looked like a home game to me.
Yeah, right. No, that's the other thing too.
Did you see how much blue was in that lower
Bro, that
bowl?
shit's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I think that is, especially if they find a way to win tonight. I guess we won't know. But if somehow Rangers go up 2-0, that's clear away the biggest road wins. I mean, I guess
that's
they're
toast
up 2-0
if they go up 2-0.
Anyway.
All right, and then for the series that have 2 games under their belts as we're recording this, which team should be most concerned? I have a feeling all 3 of us are going to have the same answer for this one. Nick, you start.
This is tough.
I think I know what you're going to say.
I think the easy answer here is the New York Islanders. You haven't won a game yet.
Yeah.
You haven't really looked like, I mean, through parts of game 2, you were in control, but essentially both of these games now going back to New York are must-win games.
Yep.
I think it's either the Islanders. If you made me, I mean, it is the Islanders. If you made me pick you can't pick the Islanders, I'd actually go with the Bruins. I think
I was going to say the Bruins.
That's a good one too.
The next most concerning, the other two that were through 2 games with Wild and Stars and Oilers Kings, doesn't even matter. Those games those series are going 6 or 7 either way. Somebody's going to win them late. The other two, it's a little sketchy, especially for the Islanders, but it's a little sketchy for the Bruins too.
I'm with you on the Bruins. That's the one I was going to say, especially if whatever's going on with Bergeron, because RA was going on some
they got to figure that out.
Like he played in the 82nd game and he should have, but then they say he's sick, and I'm like, is he sick or is he hurt?
Well, I've heard illness, I've heard injury. If you're the Panthers, any game he's not in the lineup is a game you must win.
Yeah,
100%.
So that'll do it for the discussion of the week, which was brought to you by Kane Footwear. Nick, I think you have a word from them.
Yeah, I speaking of Canes, I love the ones you got recently. What was the color pattern on that?
It is it's like a red with a cream bottom.
Nice.
It's one of their new colorways. Definitely use those after running the 26.2. Definitely needed some recovery. Got the blood flow going to my feet. Some guys in the beer league team all chipped in and are rocking them now. So we are Team Kane.
Nice. Yeah, we absolutely love them. They help us recover. Head to the link in our bio today to get a pair of the most comfortable shoes you will ever own.
For sure. All right, some quick news, and then we'll wrap up here. Alex Texier?
Nice.
Yeah, you got it. Nice.
Alex Texier. He is the Blue Jackets forward who's a native of France that will return to the NHL next season following a year with the ZSC Lions. Following an injury, the NHL and NHLPA Substance Abuse and Behavioral Health Program felt it was best for Texier to be living close to his family this past year, but he will be back with the Blue Jackets next season. That's always good to hear.
Love that. He actually was kind of talented.
This kid's a stud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was awesome in that playoff upset they had of the Leafs in the first round.
Yes, he was.
Team USA is the new global champ of women's hockey. Hillary Knight scored a hat trick to lift Team USA to a 6-3 victory during its IIHF Women's World Championship game on Sunday. So a big shout out to the women's USA hockey team.
Beautiful. Sorry about it.
Love to see it.
Sorry about it. That's all the news we have. Obviously, we covered all of the series. So to wrap up the show, we have our trivia segment, which is presented by Elwoods. I think Mac has a couple things to say about them.
Love Elwoods. If you're in Milwaukee or in the greater Milwaukee area, be sure to head down to Elwoods, especially if you're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. Go there sporting your favorite jersey of any NHL team that has a game that night. They will most certainly be playing the games already, but if they're not, kindly ask the bartender. They're all wonderful people. Ask them to put the game on. And if your team that you're sporting the gear of scores a goal, you get a free shot of Pink Whitney. What's not to love about that? So huge shout out to Elwoods Bar. Also, go there and do a pizza beer luge. I'll let you figure that out.
Wow. Okay.
If you were at Elwoods right now, you would have just seen John Tavares put the Leafs back up 4-1.
Okay, there you go.
Love
and
that.
Probably some Leafs fans just got some free Pink Whitney shots. Okay, trivia. Let's go. Let's close this heater of an episode off on this day in hockey history on 420 Blaze. In the year 2002, which goalie recorded his 13th career playoff shutout in a 2-0 win over the Islanders in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals?
Martin Brodeur.
Wrong.
Shit.
Harry.
All right. Eastern Conference, because they played the Islanders. Goalie, 2002.
Quarterfinals, that's what? First round. So
First round.
Game 2, round 1, 2-0 dub for this team. And it is
Curtis
this guy's...
Joseph.
Ding, 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 ding.
Whoa. God damn it, Nick.
Cujo.
It was my turn to pick.
All right, let me finish. Matt Sundin had assists on both of the Toronto third period goals. Joseph ended up retiring with 16 career playoff shutouts. Who are the only two that had more in history? 23 and 24 piece for these two gentlemen.
Marty's gotta be one of them.
Ding, 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 ding. Who's the other? Marty had the most with 24. Who has 23?
Patrick Waugh.
Has to be, right?
Ding, 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 ding,
Nice.
ding. You all are beautiful
Can we
people.
bring
You know your
back-
hockey history.
Can we bring back early 2000s goalies? Why were they so
Oh,
cool back then?
Cujo, yeah. all
Marty
these guys were
Turco.
sick. Yeah. Yeah.
Why-
Let's
can I-
go. Roman
Vesa
Turek.
Toskala, come
Yo,
on.
Mika Kiprasov. Okay,
Yes.
we'll go all day. Somebody's got.
I'm just gonna say this: goalies are not as cool now as they used to be.
No,
It's just
they're
not the
not.
same. Like the hockey goalie was the
Careful
pinnacle
what you
of
say.
hockey.
This is a goalie podcast. We've had a lot of new goalies
Yeah,
on this.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of our
fuck.
friends too.
Yeah, shit. I don't know. It's just like I'm talking pros, but
But they're not like, I mean,
they're
like,
so badass, dude.
like Eddie Belfour is a badass. I mean, minus a couple, 2-3 things, but like,
Cup of 2 tree.
exactly.
Oh man. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode. We'll be back probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. We're doing our twice a weeks for round 1 and 2, as you already know. Enjoy the weekend. Watch some playoff hockey this weekend. It's going to be a fun one. You guys got any final notes before we wrap up?
Go Kings, go.
Go. Didn't you
True.
pick the Oilers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm still rooting for the Kings.
Okay,
Love
cool.
that.
We
Love
love
that.
that. This is a Kings podcast.
I'm essentially, no, it's so
fun.
funny. Like, I'm essentially rooting against every one of my picks, minus the Canes. Islanders won. Fuck the Canes.
Facts.
I'm much more fuck the Islanders, but I respect it. All right, everybody. We appreciate the love and support as always. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.